Hi folks, this is Rick Olson, Mayor of the City of Sandwich. Wanted to stop and take a moment to thank each and every one of you for coming out and voting this last Tuesday. And I know that there's a lot of responsibility that comes with voting, but we also understand that your right to vote was given to you by people who gave their lives. So I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come and vote. Now, addressing some of the issues on the vote. One of the things was the 1% sales tax increase. I certainly appreciate the folks that came out and voted in favor of that, but I also understand that it was a very close vote, so there were people that need some questions answered. And I think more than the questions being answered, we also need to know that you want us to address our city's budget in a very fiscally responsible way. So that means that we have to spend the time and the effort to make certain that the dollars that we receive from each and every one of you when you pay your taxes is spent in a proper way. One of the things that we have to do is be transparent. We need to let you know exactly where each and every dollar is being spent. Now, part of that responsibility is on you. And when I say that, I mean you need to make yourself available to find out this information. Maybe not just read it on Facebook or hear it through the grapevine. You need to come to a meeting. Our meetings are every Monday night at 7 o'clock, and we welcome you here. In fact, we encourage you to come. One of the things that you can do at the end of the meeting is ask any kind of a question you might want to ask. We may not have the answer right away, but we will certainly get the information to you. So as we approach this next fiscal year, we know we have a lot of responsibilities. We know we have a lot of issues that we have to deal with in the city of Sandwich, and we have priorities that we have to set. Some of the priorities that we talked about as we were approaching this 1% sales tax question was where exactly would we spend that money? Well, first of all, we have to balance the budget. That's very important. But the cost of doing business, if you will, continually goes up. All the cost of maintenance, all the cost of equipment, those numbers go up and up. Our sales tax money, our real estate tax money, and some of the other funds that we get channeled through the state of Illinois have remained stagnant, or even in some cases has gone down. So to maintain the services that each and every one of us enjoy here in the city of Sandwich, we had to address that issue. And thank you for helping us do that very thing. And when you talk about the increase, all we're trying to be is parallel with the communities that surround us. If you shop at Walmart, for instance, you're paying 7.25% right now. If you shop, say, at Yorkville, you could be paying as much as 9%. We were at 6.25%, and now after this election, we'll be at 7.25%. And again, as I said, I appreciate each and every one of you that voted, whether you voted for it or whether you voted against it. I appreciate you expressing your constitutionally given rights. Now, when it came to the school issue, I certainly was disappointed to see that didn't pass. We have great schools in Sandwich. Rick Schmidt and his staff over there do an excellent job, and I was hoping that that would be a positive response as well. I'm sure they'll be readdressing it because a lot of the funds that they needed are what we call unfunded mandates. In other words, things that have to be done for the school and has to do with life safety issues, and they have to be funded somewhere. Well, unfortunately, just like us, we have a certain parameter to our funding, which doesn't allow us to necessarily find extra money. So they'll have to address those issues, and we'll be there to support those efforts. Now, we did receive a couple of new people. Cheryl, and I want to make sure I say this right, and Cheryl, if I said it wrong, I apologize, but it's Shemalowski, and Cheryl will be our new alderwoman, and she'll be representing the folks down around the south side of Sandwich. And we also was elected Kevin Kelleher. Kevin Kelleher would have been up in Ward 2, up on the north side of town. I've known Kevin for a number of years, and I expect he'll do an excellent job. But in saying that, I'd like to pause for a moment and talk about the gentleman that he's replacing. And I don't know that you can replace a David Frazier. David Frazier is one of those types of people that is very dedicated to the community of Sandwich and has been his entire life. Dave has a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge, and most importantly, he carries the word of his constituents as well as anyone. He would be the first one to make certain that we addressed each and every one of our fiscal issues based on the people that he represented, knowing that that their salaries weren't going up or their Social Security numbers weren't going up, and he was very interested in maintaining that. Dave is, first of all, he was is a friend of mine and has been for over 40 years. And I think that his dedication to the community is just outstanding. And it'll continue. I'm certain he'll find his way back onto a board, or if he'll accept anything that I can appoint to him, because he's that kind of a guy. He's out there for the community, not a selfish man at all. So let's talk a little bit about priorities. And some of the priorities that we tried to address during the election was, where would we see us spending the extra dollars if we were fortunate enough to get the extra sales tax money? One of them is to address pension issues. If you pick up the newspaper, you listen to a radio broadcast, television broadcast, you'll see most communities are dealing with pension issues. I don't want Sandwich to be one of those. We need to step up and pay for our pension obligations. The last administration was only funding our pensions, I should say the police pension, somewhat under 40%. So there was almost 60% of the money that was due during the pension obligation time that was not being paid. The state of Illinois has seen that as a big enough problem, but by the year 2040, each community will have to have their pension funded up as much as 90%. We're just north of 60% right now, so we have a long way to go. So a lot of those dollars and a lot of our conversation will continue in that grain as we move forward. Infrastructure in this community is very important. Most of the infrastructure under the roads is over 100 years old. So if you have a problem, say, in the central part of the community, the fingers of that water line, that sewer line, that stormwater line that go out further away from the central part of the community, if there's a problem somewhere, it blocks it from there on back. We have a very good crew in our wastewater treatment plant people, our water people, and of course our street people that do an excellent job. The public works people work very, very hard to make certain that your services are well attended to. Under the direction of Tom Horak, our city engineer, he works very hard at looking at the sewer lines and the water lines and the stormwater lines to make certain that it services the entire community. So a great deal of the money that we're going to look forward to spending over the next few years is going to be on that infrastructure. It's very easy to make a road look nice on the top, but it kind of buries what's underneath. And underneath is what's most important, because that's where things are going to end up eventually. And that's where you have backups in certain areas of town. And we have to address each and every one of those. And of course, the police department. The police department, or the building itself, has been a topic of conversation for a number of years. It needs to be addressed, and we have addressed it. We purchased the property on East 6th Street, which was known as the Design Stairs Building. We bought the front building some time ago, and we need to rehab that building and make it the police department. We have several other properties in the area that were purchased over the years for a potential police department, and we're going to address each and every one of those properties to make certain that when we do get rid of those properties or sell them or transfer them somewhere else, that it's in the best interest of the city. So those are some of the projects that we're talking about right now. Some of the other things from a personnel standpoint, you got to understand that in a normal budget, almost 80% of it is personnel issues. We have 26% increase in our health care last year that we provide for our employees. We had to address that. And the way it was addressed is your public works people and your police officers and your dispatchers and the people that work at City Hall, they took on more of the burden. So it didn't cost the taxpayers as much as it may have. So that the burden was passed along to the membership of the staff of the city of Sandwich. And we have to address those things. Workman's comp is a huge issue all the way across the state of Illinois. If you do any reading, you'll find that the state of Illinois' workman's comp rates are very, very high. Those continue to rise, and we have to address those. We have to pay for those. That'll be portioned out on some of the money. The equipment prices continually go up. As I said before, our staff, the men and women that work for the city of Sandwich, are our greatest asset. We have to make certain that they're safe. We have to make certain that they can have a livable wage in the city, and we have to make certain that they provide the best possible service they can to each and every one of us. Very, very important. As I say, this is the first video, actually it's the second video that we've done, and we'd like to do more, because one of the things that we found out in the survey that we did is people were concerned about transparency. They were concerned about the city government telling them exactly what was going on. This video will be part of that. But as I said before, part of the process is back on you, and that is that you need to get yourself involved, come to a council meeting, pick up the phone and call City Hall and ask for me. We have a wonderful staff that will answer any question that you might have, and we'll certainly get the right answer for you. As I conclude this, again, I would like to thank each and every one of you for taking the time out of your day to vote. Most importantly, we have a safe community, and being a safe community is not just a police department issue. Everybody's involved in that. We need you to make that call if you see something out of the ordinary. Sandwich's crime rate was down almost 40% in the last 3 years. We can be proud of that. You don't have to go too far away from Sandwich to know there's some real issues when it comes to crime and violence. We need to keep that out of the corporate city limits of the city of Sandwich. We have to be a little bit selfish about that. If they want to have issues in other communities, that's a terrible thing, but we certainly don't want those types of issues here in Sandwich. But again, thank you for your time, for taking the time out to watch this video, and God bless each and every one of you.